Welcome to This Explainer. You know, when we look out at the ocean, it's so easy to just see this vast, rolling void of blue. But what if we completely flip our perspective today? I want you to start thinking of the ocean not as some barren expanse, but as the planet's ultimate vault of history. It's literally a perfectly sealed time capsule holding on to our most incredible secrets. Which brings us to a seriously mind-bending question. What if the greatest museum on Earth is actually hidden underwater? Today, we're going on a descent through time and water. We are going to explore lost continents, uncover huge cities that vanished into myths, and even decode ancient computers pulled straight from the abyss. So, let's get into it.
All right, let's dive into Section 1, Lost Lands Beneath the Waves, the Drowned Continent.
To really grasp the staggering scale of human history swallowed by the sea, we've got to start bigger than a shipwreck. We're talking about an entire drowned continent called Doggerland. Picture this. Around 12,000 BCE, the space between Great Britain and mainland Europe wasn't ocean at all. It was an immense, low-lying tundra. By 10,000 BCE, it had blossomed into a lush landscape of lagoons and marshes, basically Europe's absolute most prosperous hunting and fishing ground. But as the Ice Age ended, sea levels surged. By 6,500 BCE, the rising waters physically cut Britain off from Europe. And the final catastrophic blow? Around 6,200 BCE, a colossal submarine landslide off the coast of Norway triggered the devastating Storegga tsunami. And just like that, an inhabited, thriving landmass was swallowed by the waves.
Now, for a long time, Doggerland was just a theory, a what-if, until this absolutely incredible moment in 1931. A fishing trawler named the Colinda was dragging the muddy seafloor east of Norfolk in the UK, and it pulled up a solid lump of peat. Hidden inside that mud was a 10,000-year-old barbed antler point. This single serendipitous discovery was the smoking gun. It proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that early humans once walked, hunted, and lived right where the North Sea now violently rolls.
This brings us right into Section 2, Ancient Cities Found Underwater. Myths reclaimed by the sea. Because, you see, it's not just nomadic hunting grounds down there. The deep ocean has a habit of taking our greatest legends and transforming them back into hard archaeological reality. Take Egypt's Thonis Heraclean. For centuries, this was just a legend mentioned by the Greek historian Herodotus, literally a myth, until it was remarkably discovered off the coast of Egypt in the year 2000. This was a bustling international trade hub at its peak between the 6th and 4th centuries BC, featuring the Grand Temple of Amun, a vast network of canals, and over 700 ancient anchors. Now, contrast that massive commercial hub with Pavlopetri in Greece. This is the oldest sunken city we know of, and it's a marvel of early urban planning. Archaeologists have actually mapped out 15 individual buildings, 5 distinct streets, and 37 graves, all meticulously preserved beneath the Mediterranean.
But here is the absolute most mind-blowing part about Thonis Heraclean. Despite years of intense underwater mapping, finding colossal statues, intricate gold jewelry, and identifying a whopping 125 different ancient shipwrecks, the excavation director estimates that is only 5%. Just 5%. 95% of this sprawling ancient city is still waiting in the dark. It's like a giant puzzle, and we only have the corner pieces.
All right, moving on to Section 3, the ancient world's Titanic, the Antikythera wreck.
We're heading to the coast of a Greek island to explore what archaeologists consider the largest ancient shipwreck ever discovered. The extremes of marine archaeology at play here are just wild. You have this futuristic, one-atmosphere exosuit, something straight out of a sci-fi movie, safely descending to a wreck that sank way back between 70 and 60 BC. The stark contrast between this cutting-edge modern diving tech and the 2,000-year-old secrets it's hunting on the seafloor is just phenomenal.
And the secrets these divers are bringing up? They are literally rewriting the history books. The Antikythera ship was an absolute monster. Hull planks suggest it was up to 165 feet long. That's twice the size of a normal ancient vessel. It was basically a floating palace packed with luxury goods. They even recovered a massive 6.5-foot bronze spear. Now, unless the Romans had an ancient basketball team, this wasn't a weapon for a human. It most likely belonged to a colossal warrior statue, maybe of the goddess Athena, just waiting to be assembled back in Rome.
But the cargo that made this wreck globally famous is the Antikythera mechanism. Dating back to the 2nd century BC, this little device is widely considered the world's oldest known mechanical computer. Let that sink in for a second. A computer from antiquity.
Using a highly complex system of bronze gears, it tracked astronomical phenomena and the cycles of our solar system with absolute precision. It is, without a doubt, the single most sophisticated piece of technology to survive from the ancient world, and it was just sitting there, hidden in the sand for millennia.
As we fast forward through time a bit, we enter Section 4, Pirates, Secret Missions, and Impossible Rescues.
The deep sea continues to hold on to histories that read way more like Hollywood thrillers than actual history books. Let's step out of antiquity and look at modern mysteries. Consider this quote: "The Titanic was never supposed to be found. That it was makes this story all the more remarkable." We all know the tragic, heartbreaking story of the Titanic. But the unbelievable true story behind how we actually found the world's most famous shipwreck? Now that is a fascinating secret that stayed completely classified for decades. Here's the incredible hook. When renowned oceanographer Dr. Robert Ballard famously discovered the Titanic more than 12,000 feet below the surface in September of 1985, well, actually, scratch that. He wasn't really looking for the Titanic at all. The entire search was a cover story. He was actually tasked with a top-secret U.S. Navy mission during the Cold War to locate 2 lost nuclear submarines. Finding the Titanic was literally just a byproduct of Cold War espionage. He just happened to stumble upon it in the narrow 12-day window he had left after wrapping up the Navy's covert mission. Talk about a lucky break.
And as any marine archaeologist will tell you, finding a ship is really just the beginning of the battle. Take the Queen Anne's Revenge, the infamous flagship of the pirate Blackbeard, which sank off North Carolina in 1718. You can't just pull a 300-year-old artifact out of salt water and plop it into a museum display. It requires a grueling, years-long scientific process to stop these items from rapidly disintegrating the second they hit the air. Researchers at East Carolina University have to submerge huge artifacts like one of the ship's 4 enormous anchors or a ship's bell dated 1705 into these massive 6,500-gallon sodium carbonate tanks just to carefully extract the salts. It takes years of patient chemistry to save pirate history. Turns out, swashbuckling requires a whole lot of lab work.
We see that exact same kind of wild tenacity in modern explorers who recently searched for the Endurance. Sir Ernest Shackleton's ship was famously crushed by pack ice and sank in Antarctica in 1915, kicking off one of the greatest survival stories in human history. For over a century, finding that wreck was deemed the world's most difficult underwater search. But through sheer perseverance and some seriously advanced deep-sea robotics, search teams finally located her, and she was resting there, perfectly preserved in the freezing Antarctic waters.
Which naturally brings up a really fascinating scientific question, leading us to Section 5, Nature's Deep-Sea Time Capsules. How exactly do these ancient, incredibly fragile items, like wooden hull planks, bone, or even tiny bronze gears, survive for hundreds or thousands of years under immense pressure and highly corrosive saltwater? Well, the crucial point here is understanding the unique chemistry of specific ocean zones. Take the Black Sea, for example. Starting at a depth of about 200 meters, there is a thick hydrogen sulfide layer. This is a toxic, deep-water zone that is completely devoid of oxygen, and because there's no oxygen, it's completely devoid of the wood-eating organisms and bacteria that normally destroy shipwrecks. It acts as a perfect, natural preservative for organic materials. This chemical layer literally stops wood and organic matter from rotting.
And here's the crazy part. Back in the 1960s, Soviet archaeologist Vladimir Glavatsky perfectly predicted this exact phenomenon. He theorized that because of this toxic chemical layer, the deepest parts of the sea would flawlessly preserve not just the husks of ancient wooden ships, but potentially even incredibly fragile artifacts like papyrus and ancient scrolls right down to the seafloor. This natural preservation practically guarantees that fully intact ancient vessels are still waiting for us down in the pitch-black abyss.
Which leaves us with this final, thrilling thought. If an entire lost continent like Doggerland, complex ancient computers like the Antikythera mechanism, and top-secret nuclear submarines were all sitting there hidden from us in the abyss, what other undiscovered secrets are waiting for us in the dark right now? The ocean isn't just a body of water. It's the greatest archive of our human story, and we have barely even scratched the surface. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time on our next explainer as we continue to unpack the incredible world around us.